Hello, everyone, and welcome to this educational presentation where today I want to talk to you about the art of pullback trading. Now, pullback style of trading is very prominent. A lot of traders know how to trade pullbacks and like to trade pullbacks. I myself am a pullback trader, but most traders don't really understand how pullbacks work and don't know how to identify them. For example, let's take a look at this chart here, or I should say these phases. There are three specific phases within a pullback. The first phase is the beginning of a trend, okay? So what you want to look for is some type of trend, either to the downside or, as we see here in this generic chart here, to the upside. Now, here's where students have trouble with the second phase. This is when the market changes direction. Now, many traders think to themselves, well, that was it. That was the top. Maybe they're listening to some guy on TV or some guy in a chat room, and he says the market or the stock or whatever you're trading just topped out. It's time to exit, to sell. And if you're more aggressive, you may want to go short or buy some puts because most likely we're going to go all the way back down and make some new lows. Well, perhaps it could be that, or it could be the second phase. Instead of being the end of the trend, it could be phase two, which is called a pullback. Now, pullback is different from the beginning of a brand new trend in that it doesn't last as long. It'll go down to a specific point, but then it will stop. So if you have the proper requirements or some type of method that's able to identify that, that's actually a buying opportunity. Because once it stops at this point, well, then you go into phase three, which is the resumption of trend, and you can take advantage of a big swing up move to the first trend, and you can start to make some really nice, consistent gains. The only trouble is it's difficult identifying these three pullback phases. So this leads us to ask the question, is there a strategy specifically designed to identify these high probability pullback entries? And I'm happy to say, yes, there is. It's one of our prominent pullback methods on the PTS Primo charting platform. This is the educational platform I developed with proprietary strategies that auto-identifies these pullback strategy setups. So this is what we're going to be talking about today and sharing with you. So welcome once again. My name is Stephen Primo. I am the president and founder of Specialist Trading. About 15 years ago, I teamed up with ProTrader Strategies with one goal in mind, and that was simply to educate traders so that they could ultimately make their own trading decisions. Now, pullbacks are a great way to trade. As I stated myself, I first started trading them some 4 or 5 decades ago when I first started trading on the floor of the Pacific Stock Exchange. But I had difficulty as well in trying to identify these phases. So we're going to show you today how simple it is with one of our premier pullback methods. But before we begin, as always, we are required to share this with you. So please take a moment to view our disclaimer. I'm going to show you a lot of performance results using our pullback method, but please remember that we can in no way guarantee that any of the results I'm about to share with you will be repeated in the future. And since we are first and foremost an educational company, all examples are strictly for educational purposes only. Now, a lot of people say, well, I'd like to get more education from you, Steve. Do I have to wait each week for a presentation or a webinar? No, not really. You can actually go follow us on Twitter. As you see here, there's my handle at SPCLSTTRADG. Every day I post snapshots of our method signals that have been generated and go into a little explanation as to why. So there's lots of great free information to follow us on Twitter. Also, you can subscribe to us on YouTube. If you, we are being live broadcast right now on YouTube. If you're watching us that way, click on the subscribe button and have a lot more access to a lot more of our videos that we present. Okay, so lots of ways to follow us. Please feel free to follow us either on Twitter or subscribe to YouTube. Now, remember, as we stated earlier, we are an educational company, which means that I'm sorry if you thought you were going to come here today and I'm going to tell you what I think the market's going to do. Is it topping out or is it going to go higher? Or I'm going to tell you what the perfect stock is to buy or the perfect market to trade or even the best time frame. You've come to the wrong place because that's not what an educator does. Think, for example, if you wanted to learn a hobby or some type of trade or something. Let's say you wanted to learn how to play golf. Well, sure, you would hire a coach, someone to teach you how to do it. But once you started actually playing golf, he's not going to play for you and tell you at each hole what you should be doing. You have to go out on your own and learn how to play golf and then make your own decisions. It's no different with trading, but for some reason, the entire industry is based off of us not making our own decisions. We follow what some guy on TV is telling us, or someone in a chat room or a trade room, or we wait for the indicators to come out to tell us what to do. I mean, this really is a disservice. And this is why, in my opinion, I think 85% of all traders fail. It's because they're taking themselves out of the game and they're not making their own trading decisions. And I know this from firsthand experience because this is what I did when I first started trading some 47 years ago on the floor of the Pacific Stock Exchange. I was following all the gurus. We didn't have chat rooms or trading rooms then. There was no internet, but we had subscription services. I was following all the news events. And guess what? I couldn't make a dime for nearly 2 years. It wasn't until my mentors taught me the specialist edge, the same thing I teach to my students, that I started to become a consistent trader. So hopefully you will be able to become a consistent trader, because my goal is not to trade for you or not to force feed you signals, but to teach you how to trade with the same edge that has sustained me now going on 48 years starting next year. Okay. Now, a few things before we begin. We have a good crowd here today, a lot of new names and faces I see. If you have a question, which is perfectly fine, please wait to ask me at the end. I like to take the questions at the end because I have a good number of slides here to share with you, and I don't want to stop for every slide, and we'll be here far too long. So just remember it or write it down. I promise I'll answer all your questions at the end. Also, this is being recorded, so if you have to leave early or if you're having technical issues, don't worry, you will each get a link to this recording, okay? All right, with that stated, let's begin. And we're going to be talking about our premier pullback method, which is called strategy number 9. Now, let me give you some of the highlights of this particular method. Obviously, it's a buy low, sell high pullback strategy. It's based on proprietary indicator. So it's a lot of our methods are pattern recognition or a combination between an indicator and a pattern. This is simply based on an indicator, okay? The good news with strategy number 9 is that you can apply it to virtually any market, any time frame, or any direction. I attended a webinar the other day by another so-called educator, and with some, great results. And someone asked, can you apply this to other markets? And they said, oh no, it has to specifically be this market in this time frame. And I feel like if something is really valid, it should be able to be transferring onto any market or any time frame. So strategy number 9 is very consistent in that way. Okay. Now, here's the good news also. If you're an option trader, you can apply it to option timing. So because if we are buying at these lower levels within a pullback, it makes it ideal for option trading because your premiums will be much less. Or if you're selling or buying puts or some type of a spread strategy with a downward bias, it'll be much cheaper because the stock or the future or the currency pair is actually rising. Now, with all of our methods, if you decide to become a student of mine, the strategy number 9 course, we always require that they paper trade first because there's so much to learn through that process. You see, all of our methods are extremely consistent, but most people aren't really aware of what consistency means. They think that consistency means there's a lot of winners. That's not what consistency means. Consistency actually is an awareness that you will have losses. That's okay. I have losses all the time, but a consistent method is one that's able to recoup those losses. You see, that's what trading is about. It's kind of a 2-step forward, 1-step back approach. 2-step forward, 1-step back approach. So that's what we want to instill in all of you, that all of our methods are consistent, because a consistent method will sustain you, not just for a couple of months, maybe even a couple of years, but hopefully for a couple of decades, possibly even close to 5 decades, the way I've been trading with my consistent methods. Now, some more information about strategy number 9. It employs 2 simple indicators. Their relationship to the price automatically produces the signals. Now, I'm sorry, I can't give away the rules. I've done that with a couple of other webinars where I've given half of the rules. But strategy number 9 is extremely simple. And if I even gave away one of the rules, it would be easy to reverse generate. So I really don't want to do that to all the people around the world that have purchased strategy number 9. Now, in an overall uptrend, buy signals will be generated during a decline, obviously. And in an overall downtrend, the sell signals will be generated during a rally. So let's look at some current strategy number 9 examples and show you the process that you could go through and show you how simple it is by using our platform, the PTS Primo Charting platform that actually identifies these pullback strategy setups. All right, we'll start off with buys first, and then we'll finish looking at some sell examples. Here's an example in EA, all right, Electronic Arts. Okay, obviously we're going up. So someone would say, well, Steve, we're in an uptrend, right? So you want to buy when you're going up, but then this happens. So are we in the beginning of a downtrend? Maybe somebody in that chat room says, hey, you got to sell this. It's going to make new lows. You got to get out. The market looks terrible. The news about this stock is bad, so you got to sell. Well, they may be right. But according to strategy number 9 in the software, if you ask yourself, well, what is it? Strategy number 9 actually said this is phase 1, and this is simply phase 2. Now, phase 2 is the pullback phase. And remember, pullbacks don't last as long as a sustained trend. They will come to an end sooner than you think. And when they come to that end, that's a great buying opportunity. The trouble is you want to have a method that's able to know and determine the difference if it's coming to an end or is it a brand new trend to the downside. Well, here on our platform, all you have to do is click on strategy number 9 in the upper green strategy tab right here. Show you how simple this is. And then in the drop-down menu, click on signal arrow. And as you can see, a buy signal was generated right at the bottom of that so-called new downtrend. And look what happened. In the following week or so, it gained 10 points. So where someone was saying, you got to sell this, it's going to make new lows, that was simply phase 2, a pullback phase. Now, look what happens again. Let's say you took a nice little 10-point gain or 7, 8-point gain, and then you got out. And you say to yourself, wow, okay, thank goodness, because now it's probably going to make new lows. Now this is probably the beginning of a downtrend. But remember, we teach you what to look for. And the software also identifies that this actually was not the beginning of a downtrend. This started a new phase. This was phase 1 right here, and this was phase 2. So another pullback was taking place. Once again, all you have to do then, once you know that you're in phase 2, click on strategy number 9, click on signal arrow, and it automatically identifies if there's a buy signal or not. And there was a buy signal right at the lows of that sell-off. And look what happened. Phase 3 was generated, and you could have potentially captured 12 more points. So you see where you're following someone else who's telling you, well, the trend is changing, you got to get out. We'll teach you what phase you're in. Very simple, very easy, because it's all auto-generated on our platform. And then you'll know exactly where to buy or where to sell. Let's look at another example here. We're looking at NXPI. Once again, straight up and straight down. So at this point, you're saying to yourself, well, wow, I don't know what this stock is doing, right? But this is phase 1 and this is phase 2. Even though it's only maybe 1, 2, 3 bars, it's telling you that most likely this is going to be over soon. So in order to take advantage of that, click on strategy 9 and see if there's any signals that are being generated. Click on signal indicator or signal arrow, I should say. And we have 2 right here at or close to the bottom. Had you taken advantage of that signal, guess what? In the next month, you could have potentially captured 22 points. So once again, we make it really simple for you. When I was first starting out trying to learn how to trade pullbacks, I was always getting confused, thinking, well, the guy on TV said we have a doji top here, or I've got to get out because that's the beginning of a downtrend. And I'd sell, and then it would firm up, and then I would be losing money because it'd go back up in the same direction. All right, we're looking at TMUS here, okay, T-Mobile. Obviously, this was phase 1. The pullback is phase 2. So what we want to do is buy somewhere within this pullback, but we don't know exactly where. That's the beauty of strategy number 9. According to its proprietary method, it will generate these signals automatically for you. Click it on, and we see that there were 3 signals actually generated here. 1, 2, 3. Nothing has happened yet until the beginning of this month, August. It went up, and you could have potentially captured 23 points coming into this past week. Now let's look at a weekly chart of Costco, just to share with you that this is going to be applied to different time frames. Let's say you're a swing trader or more of an investor. Someone looking at this would say, well, Steve, that my stockbroker or that guy I really listen to says this is major resistance. He's been trading for years, and he says, you got to sell your long position in your portfolio because this is going lower. Look, we can't get through that resistance. So, why don't we take a profit and get out, right? This is why a lot of traders miss those big moves, because you're not really aware that this was actually phase 1 and phase 2. This was not meeting any resistance. This was just the beginning of a pullback. And remember, pullback phases don't last as long, usually, as phase 1. So you can get in as long as you know where the signals are. Now, the signals are all generated, and you know exactly how to identify them just by looking at what we teach you in the course. But just to check your work, click on strategy number 9, and you see here that, yes, there was a buy signal right here at the second downward week. And this was in August of 2023, a full year ago. Would you have liked to take this signal in Costco in your long-term portfolio? Because it's gone up 350 points within the year since that setup was generated. Let's look at an entirely different market, entirely different time frame. Here's their 4-hour chart of the British pound. Obviously, this is the pullback phase. We teach you how to identify this. Very simple. Click on strategy number 9, and you see that there was a buy signal. Now, there may be a pullback phase, and often at times, strategy number 9 won't generate a buy signal because all the rules have to come together in order for it to say that this is a high probability buy signal. And in this case, though, they all came together. You could have taken advantage of this buy signal. This was just on the 14th, just a week or so ago. 400 pips to the upside, just in a little over a week. That's basically $4,000 per unit potentially you could have captured in just a little over a week. So we showed you buy signals in daily stocks and intraday. We also showed you weekly bars, 4-hour charts of the British pound. Let's look at the opposite side of the coin. Let's look at some selling advantages, because you can also take advantages of pullbacks to the downside. All right, here's a chart in Amazon. This was at the middle to end of July last month. Obviously, we're going down. So this is a downtrend. So this would be identified as phase 1. Now we have a little bounce here. This is where a lot of people would say, well, Steve, the downtrend is over. Maybe I should buy this. The market looks good. But according to strategy number 9, this is just phase 2. This is a selling opportunity. This is where most students fail trading pullbacks because they think that it's time to buy. Actually, you should be looking to go short. But in order to take advantage, all the requirements need to be met for a sell signal to be generated. So click on strategy 9, click on signal arrow. Now, if the requirements are not met, then a signal will not be generated. But in this case, one was right here at the top of this little 4-day bounce. And look what happened. In the next 3 days, it fell 35 points. Okay? This is why most traders lose, myself included, because you're out of sync with what phase you're in. Here's an example in CEG, all right? Let's say that guy down the street, your brother-in-law or somebody you trade says, hey, this is major support. I spent $10,000 on that support and resistance course, and this is major, major support. This is where all the institutions are buying. You've got to buy this. And you say to yourself, well, I don't know. I'm not really sure yet. And then look what happened. The next day, it does bounce. So you say to yourself, wow, that guy was right. I guess that was major support. So I'm going to jump in and buy. Okay? But look what happened. If you're a strategy number 9 student, you would have said, no, this is not at all a buying opportunity. This is a selling opportunity. Sure, if I would have bought right here, I would have had a one-day nice trade here. But actually, I want to see if I should sell. Click on signal arrow. And yes, so that is a selling opportunity. So if you didn't have strategy number 9, most likely you would have bought on this bar on the opening. Or if you were lucky enough to buy here, you say, hey, this thing's going to take off. It's going to go to the moon. There's great news. And then look what happened. You would have given back all your gains and lost money because it fell 35 points in just 3 days. Once you know what phase you're in the pullback structure, it's really simple. Now, this is not like Elliott wave where you have to figure, well, this is wave 1, wave 2. No, I can't even trade it away. I get too confused trying to figure out what wave you're in. So I stopped even looking at that years ago. This is extremely simple. It's just a few simple indicators in their relationship to price, and you automatically know where you are and which phase you're in. Now, here's a pullback setup in DXCM, all right? Basically, we're going sideways to lower, and then here's the little bounce. That is not the beginning of a new uptrend. That is a selling opportunity. You click on strategy number 9, and you see if there are any signals that you can take advantage of. And yes, there was a sell signal on this day. This was on the middle or to end of July last month. So you could have bought some puts, maybe some option strategy with a bias to the downside, or shorted this stock because look what happened. In 7 days, it fell 50 points, almost half of its value. Okay. Now, obviously, some news came out. that caused this to go down. But isn't it funny how we knew well in advance? Here's another example here, a weekly chart in WBA, Walgreen. All right, we have a downtrend, so this is phase one. So we're looking to see if a pullback phase two is established. And yes, it is. Just off these 1, 2, 3, 4 days, you would have known through how we teach you in the course, through the simple indicators, that yes, this was phase two. So if it's phase two, this is not something to buy into, because most likely it's going to end and you'll be caught being long. And what if some news comes out and it goes straight down? You don't want to do that. You want to look at this as a buying opportunity, or I should say, I'm sorry, a selling opportunity, not a buying opportunity. I even got confused myself. So you would have seen here that you had two selling opportunities to take advantage of before it fell 15 points. Okay. Now this was a weekly chart. I know a lot of you would say, well, gosh, it's a weekly chart. Look at from January of this year to this month, full 8 months, I only would have made 15 points potentially. That's not a lot. But look how much the price is. This was only a $26 stock. The stock price actually dropped 55 points, 55%, I should say, in just 7 months. So this is a tremendous percentage drop in just 7 months. How about this example? Here's a 4-hour chart of the Canadian dollar for all you forex traders out there, okay? You see we were going lower, but look, we have a bottom that was made here, kind of stabilized, make another bottom, and it looks like we're going higher, all right? This is the way a lot of technical analysis 101 traders trade. They say, well, Steve, that's a double bottom. I took that course, and this means that it's most likely going to hold, right? This is major support. Well, this is why we don't base any of this off of technical analysis 101, because there's not a lot of consistency to that. If we apply the rules that we teach you in the course to finding out which phase you're in, you would have seen that this downward move was phase one, and this short little 1, 2, 3, 4 bars up was phase two. So this is a selling opportunity. But the rules have to be met in order for a sell signal to be generated. Just because we're in phase two does not mean there's a signal that's going to be generated. So guess what? Right here at the top, there was a sell signal generated. Now, this just happened just last week in the Canadian dollar, and look what happened. It fell 230 pips. That's roughly about $2,300 per unit. Now, if you miss that, coming into the 22nd, look at this. There was another phase one downtrend. Here's a short 2-bar phase two. Another sell signal was generated, and you still could have captured some gains here, probably at least over 100 pips to the downside in just one day. That's about $1,000 potentially you could have captured. This is how simple it is, because everything is provided for you with one click on the PTS Primo Charting platform. So let's review what we taught you today. Remember, pullback phases come in threes, all right? The first phase is the beginning of the trend. Really easy to spot, because you can look in hindsight and say, well, yeah, we've been going up, or yeah, we've been going straight down. The difficult part becomes noticeable in phase two, because is that the beginning of a counter trend going the opposite direction, or is it just a pullback? A pullback will not go and last as long as the beginning of a brand new trend. And that's a opportunity to get in before phase three starts, which is the resumption of trend. The good news is this is all automatically calculated for you on the PTS Primo Charting platform. Even though we teach you what to look for, this is not a black box. We want to make it simple so you can check your work. Now, it's a buy low, sell high pullback strategy based on a proprietary indicator. You can apply it to any market, any time frame, and any direction. Also, because you will be buying low at lower prices and selling at higher prices, it makes it ideal for option trading. So you can get these inexpensive premiums, okay? If you decide to become a student of mine, once again, we require all of our students to first paper trade. I know a lot of students, they jump on board, they read the rules for maybe one day, and they just begin trading. And most likely, I can almost guarantee that they're going to lose because they just do not know how to apply the proper rules. So please, remember, if you're going to become a student in the Strategy Number 9 course, you have to paper trade first. All of our methods, including Strategy Number 9, are extremely consistent, meaning they will have losses from time to time. That's okay. But a consistent method is one that's able to recoup losses right away. So ask yourself, after what I've taught you today, do you think pullback Strategy Number 9 can help your trading for the remainder of 2024. If you can think of it, we've only got about 4 months left, which is unbelievable. Well, guess what? We have a great offer for all of you attending today. This is our powerful pullback trading special. You're going to get strategy number 9 along with detailed video course instruction. You'll learn exactly where to enter, where to exit, and how to place your stop placement. You get the entire course rules that you can apply to any market and any time frame. But here's the best thing about our powerful pullback trading special. The extra bonus included, remember, is that everything you saw today was displayed coming from our platform, the PTS Primo Charting platform. Well, guess what? We're going to throw in a full year free. That's over a $1,700 value. That's a 35% discount. This is a tremendous offer, a full year free. Now, with the free platform, you're just not going to get strategy number 9. It comes with dozens of other tools, tips, and methods that I've accumulated in my 47 years of trading. Many of the things you won't find anywhere else because I've taken them from my days on the trading floor. Things like enhanced buy-sell line that tells you the overall trend in just a matter of seconds. We have 4 different ways to find that out. You get a signal scanner. You can scan for strategy number 9 signals in different time frames in different markets. A strength of trend tool that tells you when a trend is running out of steam or if it has more gas left in the tank. Also, auto-generated exit levels, one of our different exit methods. With one click, you'll see where these exit levels are. Now, this is just the tip of the iceberg. As I stated, there are literally dozens of more things available on the PTS Primo Charting platform, included with strategy number 9. Now, if you're still not convinced and you think you can do it yourself, let me share with you an example. Because I know a lot of people watch this, and I've had some people email me before and say, hey, Steve, I don't really need this because I've kind of figured out the phases. And thanks for the info, but I can do it on my own. Well, here's an example, an older chart of Apple, okay? Someone looking at this, a student would say, Steve, this is easy. Look at, here's phase 1, the beginning of that trend. Here's phase 2, the pullback. And you notice we're starting to go back up. So this must be the beginning of phase 3, right? We're probably going to make new highs. We're probably going to have a nice run up. So I don't really need strategy number 9 to tell me because I've kind of figured out on my own how to identify these phases. So let's say the student jumped in and bought right there. Well, let's see how successful they were. Okay. This is why you need strategy number 9, because this wasn't at all the proper phases of a pullback. If you were a strategy number 9 student, you still could have traded this, but guess what? Once we apply it, we click on strategy number 9, click on signal arrows, and we would have seen that this was actually not phase 1, but phase 2. This little bounce was the selling opportunity. And in fact, at the very high, strategy number 9 generated a sell signal where you could have taken advantage of phase 3 and potentially captured 20 points in just about 2 or 3 weeks to the downside, okay? And you never would have bought right here. So it really does, help you if you become a student, because it's not as simple enough to say to yourself, well, hey, it looks like these phases he taught in that webinar, so I kind of got it figured out already. You need to know this information. A year from today, if you don't sign up, you will have wished you became a member of the strategy number 9 course. So let's break it down. Here's how to take advantage of this great offer, okay? Now, normally strategy number 9 will cost over $4,700, okay? That's the normal price. We're not going to charge it. We're going to discount that down to $29.95. Now, that includes the free 1 year of the platform. That's a 35% discount. Now, we realize this is a great discount, $29.95, but if it's still too rich for your blood, don't worry. ProTrader Strategies, my sister site, is also offering payment plans. So for a small deposit, a fraction of that $29.95, a one-time payment plan, and then establish some type of monthly plan, you can still be up and running as early as today. So there's different ways to apply. You can either pay in full with that great discount of $29.95 or contact ProTrader Strategies. They can set up a payment plan for you. So for a one-time deposit, you can still be up and running and establish a payment plan. Here's how to take advantage of this great, great offer, okay? Contact my sister site, ProTrader Strategies. They have trading consultants manning the phones right now. You can call them directly at area code 310-598-6677. As I said, they're very flexible. They would be happy to work with you. They can take your order over the phone, or they can give you a quote on a payment plan so that you can decide how you'd like to become a student of mine. Now, that link you see at the very bottom is the link that will take you to the info page. You can also sign up on there if you like. It's not a live link though, but they've just posted a live link in the chat box. So if you look for that little chat icon, click that on, you'll see a link that has been posted there, and that will open up a fresh browser for you, okay? Now, I promised I would answer any question that you may have. We're at the end of the presentation. If you have any questions, now is the time. Please go to the question and answer little icon there, or the chat box, makes no difference, and I will answer all your questions to the best of my ability. Is this a live class that we will be taking? Oh, no, this is a video instruction. When we first came out with strategy number 9, I believe it was about 2 years ago, we had a live class. With all of our new courses, we have live classes, but you will be getting a video of this live class, okay? So that way you can still see what we taught in the initial class. Someone's saying, well, how will we be able to ask questions? Okay, well, in the live classes, yes, you were able to ask live questions because it was a live class, but all students of mine get my private email address. And that comes directly to me. It doesn't come to an intern. It doesn't come to a salesperson. So if you're having trouble understanding, all of our methods are extremely simple. Trust me, I developed them that way so that they would be simple. But if you're still having trouble, if you've never traded pullbacks before, don't worry. You can always email me. You can ask me just to check your work, and I'll do that for you as well. So there's lots of ways to stay in contact with me. It's the next best thing to having me sit next to you. And I will answer any of your questions before the opening, after the close, or even during the market hours. You can email me over the weekend, and I will get back to you as soon as possible, okay? How long does this discount last for? Well, that's a good question. These discounts are usually limited in time. I would say probably for a week. So I'm not trying to say that to pressure anyone. It's up to you whether you want to become a student of mine. But a lot of students, what they'll do is they'll watch the video and say, you know what, that's okay. I think I'll stick with my current method. And then about a month or two later, they continue to lose more and more money. And they say, gosh, if I had not traded this past month or two, I would have at least had more money to purchase strategy number 9 than what I've lost already. So once again, it's entirely up to you, but if you wait longer, most likely this deal is going to go back to roughly the original price, which was over $5,000 or so. So we don't want, and plus you won't get the free full year of the platform. So please, if you're really, truly interested about taking your trading to the next level, watch the video for a day or two, but then contact Pro Trader Strategies and just ask for a payment plan, or just even for a quote. They're there to work with you. There's no obligation. If you want to talk to them after this, there's no obligation. Don't feel pressured. They're just simply there to give you quotes or to answer any questions you may have about data, about different markets that you can track and follow, okay? Okay, any more questions? If not, we are at the end of this presentation. I just want to say thank you so much. I hope you learned a little bit about pullback trading. Pullback trading is very popular. When I first started out, I tried to be a pullback trader, but I consistently lost because I wasn't aware of these phases, and I was obviously doing the wrong thing. I was buying when I should have been selling, and vice versa. We developed this to make it extremely simple, so you wouldn't have to be where I was some 47 years ago when I was trying to understand how to trade pullbacks. Now it's simple, and I am 100% pullback trader now. That's all I do is trade pullback. So I really think this can help you. Take it from firsthand experience. It's extremely simple. And if you have any questions, just contact Pro Trader Strategies. Once again, at 310-598-6677. There's absolutely no obligation. You can ask them questions and you can think about it, but just don't sit on it for over a week or so, because it most likely will go back to the original price, okay? If there are no further questions, let's take one last look at our disclaimer. And I'd just like to thank you so much for taking the time out of your Wednesday. I know you're busy and probably want to be looking at the markets. But as we close, thank you once again. And I look forward to all of you becoming students of mine at Specialist Trading and the Strategy number 9 course. Thank you so much. Have a great day, and I hope to see you in class. Bye-bye.